What's up, Roots listeners? We are here in Littleton, Massachusetts for a in-person interview. The last couple you've heard have been virtual with just my voice.
Your sultry voice.
Oh, Erica is here. Is Ryan here?
Hi.
Ryan's here. Oh, holy
Everyone's
shit.
here.
Yeah, and we're all together, which is really great.
It's adorable.
It is. It's very adorable. And we have an awesome episode lined up for your ear holes today, Broods listeners. Let me tell you. What are we going to talk about?
Beer
Probably.
at Dirigible.
Yes.
That's right.
Yes.
We actually just learned how to say that word. We had a whiteboard, and we took the ruler, and it was like dirigible. Ryan got it first try, which was so surprising because Ryan can't even say like Amsterdam
Words. Yeah.
Good job, Ryan.
You're welcome.
He's learning.
We're all really proud of Ryan.
Yes.
I had a dream the other night that I had to go back to high school, and they were like, "We're going to take away your college degree because you didn't finish your math class." And I just felt like the listener should hear about that. So if you have
It's
any,
very stressful.
if you have any psychiatric diagnosis for this, please send it my way. Health insurance is expensive.
It's a magnesium deficiency.
I need to take more magnesium.
Yeah.
You're right. Yeah. All right. So what's up? We're here with Chris and Colin.
Hello.
Hello.
CNC, right?
That's it.
CNC.
Yeah, you probably hate that. Does anyone else call you that?
He's probably heard it all. C squared.
Yeah. Oh, easy to remember.
Yeah,
It is.
it is.
Yeah.
It is. We walked in the brewery today. We knew you guys had like a steampunk theme. Ryan and I were talking on the way here. We had to drive up 495, and we're like, "What is steampunk?"
Would you like me to explain for you?
Yeah.
Let's go for it.
Cool. So steampunk's pretty cool. It's a genre of science fiction where life never really progressed past steam technology. And so you get a lot of the man-made, everything's powered by steam. The men wear the top hats, the monocles. The women wear the corsets or the big frilly dresses. And again, it focuses on the man-made. So a lot of it is like if there's any imperfections, it's actually closer to the theme. Case in point, over here, you get this. I know listeners on here
Vinci
can't.
wings.
Yeah, you got like the Da Vinci-esque wings over here. I actually purposely burnt holes into the wings and everything, and then put patches over it. Coffee stains over there. Cellar mold, but that was unintentional. But it still works for it.
It's here, yeah.
But so it focuses on like the man-made and all that kind of stuff. The name dirigible comes from steampunk as well. The whole point of it is like the dirigibles are your
It's the main mode of transportation.
main mode of transportation. Sorry, yeah.
So it's like a zeppelin. It's like a zeppelin almost,
Yes.
right?
Uh-huh.
But it's not.
Yes.
It is.
Yeah, very much so.
Okay, it is.
Zeppelins, airships, any lighter than air aircraft that is self-propelled and maneuverable.
Yeah. I feel like society would be better if we were just steampunk.
Right?
Might be cool. It might be cool.
It might be very interesting.
Yeah. What were you going to add, Colin?
That's all. Yeah.
Oh, that's nice. Yeah, cool. So obviously we're in the brewery. It's very industrial, steampunk-esque. Are you guys metal workers at all, or who made this tree? Let's talk about that for a second.
So that is a local artist right out of Bolton. Her name's Yvette Monstedt, and this is actually what she does for a living. She's got a whole workshop and everything, and a couple times a year she actually opens it up to the public.
Very
and
cool.
it's really awesome. She and her husband actually she did the actual metalwork herself, and then her husband came in, helped her mount it to the wall, and then put like the backlights on it and everything.
Nice.
So,
I personally like it when a brewery has a theme.
Yeah.
I think of like River Sticks.
Yeah.
They've got
Yeah.
a cool theme, right? You guys
yeah.
have a cool theme. It just makes it like a cool destination to go to. I bet
Experience,
you guys,
kinda.
yeah.
Sense of place.
Yeah.
And you certainly did a good job breaking up the business park, mundane, like industrial part, right? Like,
Yeah.
I'm sure if we go into any of these buildings, it looks like exactly where I work at. Cubicles, people miserable, and they probably can't wait to come here and grab a beer.
Right. And that was like our whole idea. We want everything that we do, we try to, put it to theme. Even like Dirigible itself. Like we knew from the get-go when we were doing our business plan that we wanted to have a huge amount of beers. Just for you guys' information, when we grand opened, we had all 16 taps open.
Wow.
Shit, good for you guys.
That's a lot.
And really, the best way to get through a large tap system is flights. So like if you look on back of Colin's shirt, our tagline is grab a pint, catch a flight.
There you go.
Double entendre.
Yep.
Yeah, kind of tie it all together.
So, common misconception: you guys ran on Steam, right? No. So this is not a Steam
Some
operated.
brewhouses
It is.
do.
The brewhouse
Okay.
is Steam operated.
Yeah,
Sure is.
shit.
Sure
They're really
is.
on brand. That's really cool.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so the tap space is really cool. I want to get into a little bit of like the background of Dirigible. So, are you guys like childhood best friends? How'd you guys meet? What's the deal?
Colin and I, we are brothers-in-law. Our wives are sisters, and we actually
Cool.
met through our wives. You know, like I started dating my wife, he started dating his wife, and then all
My
of a sudden,
wife.
Completely
Sorry, I
separate.
couldn't resist.
So it just happened to be like we met together one Christmas morning. I had brought some beer over that I brewed from Mr. Beer Kit. I had no idea what I was doing, and as a result, I had a bunch of bottle bombs. So I brought one over
Nice.
there, mostly as a joke. I'm like, hey, I made this. Let's bring it outside and crack it open. And of course, bottle bomb ensued. But Colin was like, yeah, no, I didn't know you brew beer. I brew beer too. We should brew beer this summer. And
Cool.
that summer, he brought his system up to my house right in the middle of July. It was a 100+ degree
It's a great
day.
time to be brewing.
Right? It was probably the worst brew
Yes.
day I've ever had.
Yeah.
Colin was testing a whole bunch of new pots. We had to drill holes into the pots. We had to fix leaks. We had stuck mash. Because it was so hot, the knockout didn't work out well. It was a 12-hour day. And by the end of it, here we are. Like, we cleaned the last pot. I'm soaked head to toe. I'm like, yeah, that was fun. Let's do this again.
If you can survive that, then it's
Yeah.
easy from then on out, right?
Exactly.
Then we had the really cold days in the middle of winter, like not even like a single degree.
Yep.
And we're like, okay, well, everything's frozen. So let's bring all this stuff inside, unfreeze it, and then we can maybe go.
So when was that when you first started homebrewing?
So Colin started before me. When you started.
I started in 2011 with one of my best friends from
Well,
college.
it's been brewing for about 10 years or so. Well,
Yeah,
over 10 years.
over
now.
10 years,
Yeah,
yeah.
nice.
I actually got that Mr. Beer Kit in like the Christmas of like 2012, and I didn't actually like crack it open until like 10 months later.
Yep,
I'm
yep.
actually to this day. I mean, when I was doing it, obviously I had no idea what the processes were. I didn't know that yeast was like a living organism at all. But the yeast packet that came with it was still viable enough,
Right.
Or at least I hope so. I hope it wasn't my my cleaning practices. But,
Right. Some growth. You never know.
Wild thing going on.
Yep.
But yeah, I didn't actually crack the thing open until like 10 months later, and just kind of ad hoc threw everything together and see what happened. But yeah, then when Colin brought his full grain setup over, I mean that was the last of my kit
Eye-opening experience. Yeah. Yeah.
Do you find as though, when did it become more of like a less of a hobby, and then you're like, shit, I want to leave.
We
my
got to do
job and
this.
Right. Yeah. So actually, for me, I was originally a zookeeper and an aquarist. Yeah. So
Whoa.
that's what I did.
First
out of
zookeeper I think we've
school.
ever talked to.
And it was interesting. It was fun. I liked it.
What's your favorite animal?
So one of the most interesting animals I ever worked with was a southern cassowary. It's
What
the
is that?
third largest bird in the world, and
Oh.
they look like if you mixed a ostrich type bird with a dinosaur with a turkey. Had a brightly colored wattles. It had a like big
They should make a
horn,
video
like,
game
head
with
on
that.
it.
It was like one ugly motherfucker.
Oh yeah, that's crazy.
Oh,
And
they're super dangerous.
super
too.
dangerous.
Oh,
So
yeah.
we had a breeding pair, and
That sounds
it's like
even more dangerous.
my second day on the job, and they're like, "Okay, you're gonna go in there and you're gonna go get their egg, because they will otherwise will destroy that egg."
Oh, God.
The eggs are worth like a couple $100, if viable, all the way to a chick, like thousands of dollars. So this was a pretty big deal, and they were like, "Okay, so here's a pig shield. Pig shield is basically just a giant piece of metal with some handles on it," and they're like, "Go on in there and try to get that egg."
Good
so
luck.
I go in, I put on a shield to try to block,
The burrs, like
basically a velociraptor from tearing my face apart, and get the egg out, which is like, probably about 10 inches.
that's a decent sized
It's a
egg,
big
too.
egg, yeah. And brightly colored, too. They're like bright green,
they're very
but really
pretty.
cool.
Yeah,
That's fun.
Shit.
But
Sorry,
yeah.
sorry,
How big
Chris,
is
you
the
have to-
bird? Is the bird like
So they're like a little bit smaller than an emu, which is the second largest bird.
That's
it's
so you are fighting for your life.
Yeah,
Second
definitely
largest.
taller than me.
Shit. Sorry, Chris. You have to follow that.
So then, so I get out of that industry because I was like, okay, I don't want to be around cities anymore. I want to be able to move off to the country, and you don't really have zoos and aquariums like in the country.
Yeah.
So I end up being like, okay, what I'm going to do with my job? And I said, well, I'm a home brewer. The obvious answer is I go into the brewing industry. And so that's how I got into that.
Nice.
Very cool.
Kind of the rest is history, as they say.
Chris?
Yeah. Well, so Colin had already started getting into the industry. He started at a homebrew store over in Marlborough. It's no longer around. It's called Strange Brew. Was there for a couple of years. Then he got a job over at Ironheart Mobile Canning Company. Goes around different breweries. And even by this point, we were still just homebrewing. Like, this was never a concept in our mind. But we really, really enjoyed the act of brewing. We would brew tons and tons of beer. After a while, like Colin would upgrade his setup. I would get his old pots and everything.
Yep.
And we would brew together, but independently. So either I would bring my setup to his house, he'd bring his to my house, and we'd brew, again, together, but independently. And over the course of years, we amassed tons and tons and tons of recipes each. And we love brewing everything, not just our IPAs, but I mean we get dark Kolsch. We got our first beer was our black IPA, which
Nice.
Enjoy it. That's awesome.
are
Yep.
drinking right now, and we just really like the act of brewing, and one keg each turned into 3 kegs, turned into 6 kegs. At a point,
Jeez.
we both had over a dozen kegs apiece.
Yep.
And
Yep.
and we would we'd go to parties. My family would throw our annual Christmas in July party, which was a lot of fun. COVID kind of killed it.
That sounds amazing, though.
Yeah,
I had one. You just didn't come.
This is true.
it was a long-standing family tradition. And what would happen was, we'd start bringing our beer to this thing. It started out, we'd have a jockey box, 4 or 5 taps. The last one that we did, we had 16, 18 beers.
Oh my
on
God.
tap. Oh, yeah. And this Christmas in July, it started out like in the very, very beginning as just my immediate family. And then over the course of years, it became bigger and bigger and bigger, to the point where we had over 100 people.
The neighborhoods.
Yeah,
Yeah.
neighborhood, friends of friends,
Yep.
our extended family. I mean,
Maybe
these
no
things
5
were,
people here. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yep,
right.
yep.
And as a result, we would get a lot of feedback, a lot of honest feedback. Believe me, my family could be pretty brutal at times, and we'd perfect our recipes. And one year, one Christmas, our uncle-in-law, our wife's uncle, Uncle Bob, came up to visit us.
Good old
and
Uncle Bob.
Good old Uncle Bob, yep. So yeah, he came up to visit us, and of course we were drinking all night and everything. And he tries our beer, and he's like, "This is some of the best beer I've ever had." He's like, "When you go into business, let me know. I want to give you a hand with this." And we're like, Uncle Bob,
Sure,
Uncle Bob, yeah.
Bob.
One too many, Uncle Bob.
Yeah.
But yeah, as the years went on, Colin finally got a job at Throwback Brewery as one of the
Oh, sweet.
brewers over
Nice.
there.
That's awesome.
And halfway through his tenure there, we're thinking, we're like, hey, we can probably make this happen. I was working in IT at the time. I kind of fell into it. I was good at it. Hated it. It was
Yeah.
very, very stressful. I don't like being stuck in a cubicle. I love talking to people.
Yep.
And you just don't have that environment in IT. And so, after one day, I was stressed out. I came home. I was miserable. And Amanda, my wife, she's like, "Look, you got to get out of the industry. You're miserable. You just find a job in the brewing industry and just do it." And she was the one that kind of gave us the final push
Nice.
to get into the industry. And so I figured Colin already has a bunch of back house experience. And he worked at the homebrew store. He worked as a mobile canning company. He worked as a brewer, a cellarman. And so I'm like, well, if he's got the back house, I'll go get the front of house experience. So I got a job over at Harpoon, right in the beer hall, right in Boston.
Awesome.
And they got their SOPs and everything.
Oh,
down
yeah.
pat.
Completely different.
You start there, and they give you a legit binder full of all of their SOPs.
Wow.
Yeah.
Spelled everything out.
Yeah, yeah.
They've been around since '86.
Yeah.
They've got their.
They know what
They
they're
kind of
doing.
know what they're doing.
And it allowed me to get a really, really good foundation for the front of house stuff. And from there on, that's when we started meeting weekly, starting our business plan, putting it all together. It took us about a year and a half or so to get our business plan put together. But when Uncle Bob came up to visit us one year, we had it finished. Before we even cracked open a single beer, we sat him down, we put it right down in front of him, and said, "Uncle Bob, no pressure. We've already kind of illustrated all of the financial side of things. But if you would like to be a part of this, we would love to have you on board." And without even opening, he said, "Absolutely."
Yeah, nice.
Yeah, this all started in about 2018.
Yeah.
To give you a
Okay.
time reference.
Yep.
Yeah. So So Uncle Bob himself is responsible for about a quarter of our financial stuff here.
Investment.
Yeah.
He got us through a lot of the early side of things, all the legal crap involved. And, from there on, we kept on meeting weekly, hammering out that business plan. So we're in Littleton. We were originally looking at the greater Lowell area. Specifically, we were looking at places in Billerica and Chelmsford.
Yep.
Which need breweries still. Just
Yes, they do.
Just throw it out
They do.
there, guys.
In fact,
yes.
we almost landed in Chelmsford. We were
Chelmsford would be great.
right? Right?
Littleton's great. I'm not. No. It's just.
There's still plenty of opportunity, folks.
Yes, I went to UMass Lowell.
Get on it.
So we almost landed in Chelmsford. We were maybe a couple of weeks, maybe a month out from signing a lease. We went back and forth for months, and then COVID hit. And the landlords backed out immediately. They're like, "We want nothing to do with the restaurant industry." And I'm like, "Oh, we're not a restaurant. We're not a restaurant. We're not a restaurant. No food." And they're like, "We don't care." And in hindsight,
Okay.
I mean, I totally understand. It was very uncertain times. Nobody knew what was going to happen at all.
It's kind of like a blessing, though, in disguise, right? Like
Very much so.
You were not paying rent.
Very much
Yeah.
so. In fact, actually, that happened. It was kind of a bit of a bummer. We were a little depressed for about a week or so, but then we're like, this will give us a time to kind of take a step back from the industry, see what breweries are doing right, see what they're doing wrong. And we rewrote our business plan from scratch.
And before we get into that,
Yeah.
a word from our sponsors. At our local homebrew shop, Beer and Wine Hobby, you can get everything you need to make beer, wine, cider, cheese, and more. Not sure where to start? They have knowledgeable staff there to help. Beer and Wine Hobby is family-owned and located in Danvers, Massachusetts. Visit their website, beer-wine.com, and use our promo code BREWROOTS for 10% off your online order today.
Shirts on Tap is the box subscription service for craft beer lovers. Each month, Shirts on Tap partners up with 7 different breweries from across the country and collaborates on a sweet custom shirt design. We've been teamed up with Shirts on Tap since the inception of the podcast and are proud to announce a new promo code for all of our listeners. To get your first shirt for $5 off, go to the link in our description below and use the promo code. And remember, drink better beer, wear better shirts. All right, Chris, just run
Yes.
the podcast. I'm enjoying just drinking these
keep-
beers. Yeah.
So where did I leave off?
So basically, you couldn't get in Chelmsford.
Oh, yeah.
Pandemic.
Rewrote
Rewrote the
Rewrote
Yeah.
the business plan from scratch. And we actually had a whole spreadsheet of all of our needs versus wants. And a lot of these wants turned into needs. Like, first of all, outdoor seating. Outdoor seating was would have
Maybe
been
we'll
really
have
nice.
it,
Kinda
but
huge.
no big deal.
Yeah.
After the pandemic, it was yes,
Everyone
absolutely.
wants to be outside.
Yeah. Yeah.
Any brewery that does it, I mean, I know you're limited by space, but it's just so nice. It's so nice.
It is.
Yep.
With pandemic or without pandemic, it's
Yes,
just
it's
wonderful having
wonderful.
a beer outside.
Of course. Yeah.
Yeah.
And one of the other big things that was that turned into a need was our crowler machine. That's at the end of the bar over there.
Nice.
That guy over there was $4,000, and it has already paid for itself, like
Tenfold.
That's awesome.
Oh, easy. That represents at least a quarter of our sales, and
Even still, like right now.
Yeah.
Wow. That's cool.
And that thing was a godsend for us. But yeah, all of these things kind of culminated together. We, like I said, we threw out our old business plan. It's like this is no longer viable.
Yeah.
And then we started looking. Well, that was about 6 or 8 months later, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, we started looking again in earnest, and we looked at easy 60 different places.
It took us about a year.
Yeah. I
We
believe
looked
it.
at place after place, but there was a lot of vetting. We had a laundry list of prerequisites, and a lot of it, like even half of the spots that we were looking at were immediately vetted because like we wanted to have a tap room that faced the brewery, and just that alone. We ran into zoning issues.
Yeah.
So we've already nixed half of these things just because they couldn't do a customer facing and industrial side.
Out of curiosity,
Yeah.
sorry to interrupt, but like what was on that list and kind of why maybe were some of those things that you were looking for?
Oh yeah,
absolutely.
Do you want to go over that?
Yeah, so definitely on the list was a large enough space to be able to house both a brewery and a tap room.
Sure.
And a lot of that also came with, okay, you now have like all this stuff at the end of brewing. You have spent grain, you got other things. So like a need for access to easily get rid of all of this big, massive stuff, which we do. So we
So a
put
garage
into
door, basically.
Yeah,
Yeah.
garage door is kind of a necessary thing. And there were some places, it had a garage door, but it had some sort of regular door between. So that would mean knocking down some massive wall
Yeah,
to try to go
yeah.
ahead and open this up. And then obviously the outdoor seating was an issue, making sure there was enough of that.
Foundation too.
Foundation,
I don't know if you know
True.
this, but fermenters are kind of heavy
Yeah.
when they're full, especially when you have 12 tanks over there that currently all but one are full over there. We got to have a foundation that can support that.
Yeah.
We got to be able to get a forklift around and
Tall ceilings was
tall
kind of a
ceilings.
necessary
Stuff you just
thing.
don't
It's
think
not like
about.
100% necessary, but it was like for what we envisioned, we
Helpful.
wanted the high ceilings to
Yeah.
be able to fit all this equipment in and be able to expand on our space once we got going here.
And in hindsight, that place that we were looking at in Chelmsford had 12-foot ceilings versus our 18-foot ones
Yeah.
here.
Almost
Kind of a
double the
difference.
size too.
The outdoor seating that they proposed was like this small 10 by 12 area outside. It was, which would have, at the
Would've been
time would have been,
okay, right?
that'd be nice, but
Yeah.
we needed more now.
Yeah.
So it was definitely a blessing. in
How much
disguise.
outdoor space do you have now? at this
So
location?
we have enough for about 7 or 8 picnic tables. It kind of goes right.
That's
from
a decent
that over
amount.
there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right here.
Yeah, it would be about like 25 to 30 people would be able to.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, and better than nothing.
Oh,
and,
definitely. Yeah.
Right now, it's not finished. I was in the middle of laying patio blocks in November last year, about a week before we actually opened, and here I am leveling it out. I'm like, what the hell am I doing? I got so much work I got to do inside here, and here I'm outside laying something that will probably be closed in 3 weeks. Little
Right.
did I know we had the mildest winter,
Yeah, hindsight,
and
we
that
could
would have
have.
been awesome to have. Even last week when it was 60 degrees.
Yeah.
Or this week
It's
when
all
it's
right.
going to be about 62.
Yeah.
But we're actually looking to debut our outdoor seating on May 5th.
Okay.
We're actually
Exciting.
doing a whole ribbon cutting event. We're part of
Nice.
the Neshoba Chamber of Commerce. They're gonna come out. They're gonna put out a ribbon. We're gonna get one of those giant
scissors?
pairs of scissors.
Yes.
Yes.
That's legit.
Where does one buy those kind?
I don't know.
Probably
but
Amazon.
Do you
They
think they
probably
bring
just
it,
have it there,
or you got to make sure you have it?
I'm
Because
sure that
they don't have it.
I'm wondering if the safety scissors too. Can you cut yourself on these things?
We should look into that.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
But when I was talking with the town, I've been very, very close with the town of Littleton. Littleton has been awesome. They've
Yeah.
been very, very, very helpful over here. And they actually have a giant pair of scissors. It actually comes in what looks like a guitar case. I was actually showing it.
That's
I think
awesome.
she didn't open it up for me, but she's like, the scissors are in there.
Holy shit.
They have their own case and
Right?
That's really cool.
That's special.
It's good you mentioned Littleton. So did they get the idea of a brewery? Because we talked to a ton of breweries and they're like, yeah, we don't
You
want
had to,
another bar.
Yeah.
Right? Like, do you have to
Actually,
convince-
yeah.
Or it's like a restaurant or whatever, right?
Right.
You don't really know.
Yeah,
what you are.
so there was a little bit of that in the beginning, but they caught on pretty quickly.
Yeah.
There's a few people that are on the board and everything that actually go to breweries and are interested in beer, so they
That's
do
helpful.
understand that. And then our engineer was very helpful in this as well because he is a very much a beer geek and was able to explain all of the ins and outs of what we're doing here
Yeah.
without having to try to explain it to layperson. He was just here's what they're
Right.
doing, and then he was able to define it really easily
He was
for us.
instrumental over here, Bruce. He was our civil engineer. One of the hardest things to get through was the Board of Health, which
Of course.
makes sense.
Yeah.
You know, there's a lot of things involved with that. We are on a septic system, so our occupancy is directly tied in with our septic system.
Yeah, no, that makes
And there is like an actual septic usage depending on what kind of business you are. So the Board of Health didn't really know what we were looking to do, which again makes sense. Is nothing like this in the area.
We're the first in this area.
Yeah.
Yep.
So you just tell people don't break the seal here.
Exactly. Well, so he had originally coded us as a restaurant, which has I think like, just to throw numbers at you, about 35 gallons of usage per seat. Now, Bruce was able to sit down. He was able to define us a little bit better, got us down to about 20 gallons per seat, which is huge, which means we have a lot more usage. We can get more people in here.
Yeah.
So, yeah, he was awesome. So having our civil engineer to kind of define all of that for us was awesome.
Yeah.
Then Diane, she's one of our town administrators. She went out of her way to kind of go through the process. How do we start a brewery in town? She learned all the stuff that we needed to do for the federal, all the state, all the local, and everything. So she was awesome. I got a call from her basically every other day. Hey, do you have this? Do you have that? I can get that for you. So the town was very excited to get us in here.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and I say to people all the time, we have like the perfect trifecta. You know, the town has been awesome. Our locals are amazing. I mean, we've been open for just over 4 months, and we have so many regulars who come in here.
Nice.
Our neighbors are our best friends. You know.
Yeah.
And the third part of that would be our landlords. Our landlords.
That's huge.
Yes.
If you have good landlords, that's
Our landlords, so this building isn't owned by some big brokerage company or anything like that. It's owned by a husband and wife, and they actually own the sheet metal company on the opposite side of this building. If you look at our corner right here, they built that copper corner for us.
Nice.
They did our steel top for our crowler machine, and most of all, they're big beer folks, which
Love
I
it.
think is very, very
Yes.
important. Right?
One of the first things
So they
they
get
wanted
it.
to know is they wanted to have a sample of our beer. They were like, well, we want to make sure you're actually making
Decent,
good beer
right?
here.
Yeah.
We don't want just some crap brewery
Yeah.
coming in here. So yeah, that was one of the first things. We were just kind of like, oh, okay, yeah, we can totally do that.
that's
we have
awesome
a whole bunch
having
of
that
homebrew, so.
support
Yeah.
from not only your owners, your landlords, but like everyone else in the area, and that's awesome.
Yeah, and having that rapport is really great.
Right.
We were sitting down with them one day, just chatting, having a couple beers and whatnot. And this is before we had even opened. And Betsy, the wife, she's like, being on Porter Road, you guys are going to have a porter, right? And we didn't have a porter in our repertoire.
Oh shit!
I'm like,
I haven't brewed porter in
I
like
pointed
about
at
5 or
Colin.
6 years.
I pointed at Colin. I'm like, we're getting a porter, right?
yeah, exactly.
So hence
So now
the
you have a
24
porter.
Yep.
Good.
Yeah. So 4 months. Mm-hmm. Is there things that you're like, man, I wish we did a little bit different?
Off the top of my head. Not really. We're actually just kind of flying by the seat of our pants. We're making it up as we go. A lot of people, a lot of our regulars, like, you guys must be like these big business masterminds. I'm like, no.
Sure we are.
Fake it till you make it, right?
Right.
No, I mean, I feel like we've been doing pretty good by our customers. I mean, as long as you're upfront, honest, you make good beer, you treat your customers with respect. I mean,
Yeah.
I couldn't even think of anything that we could do differently.
Yeah, the biggest thing that we need to still do is get another cold room because,
Yes.
in hindsight, the amount of kegs for filling 16 taps that fills a cold
That
room
corner's pretty small.
really
Yeah.
quickly.
Yeah.
So yeah, we want to go ahead and get into canning, get a mobile canning company in here and
Yep.
go ahead and can our stuff up. But we have no cold storage for that right now. So it's
Right.
like, okay, so that's a little bit of a hurdle, but we're actually
Yeah.
starting in the works to find someone to
Yeah.
help us out with that. So it's good.
Cool. Nice.
How's the beer community been for you guys?
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah.
Come on, be honest.
He said
so-
awesome.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's no surprise to anybody that our best seller is our New England IPA. And by a large margin, like you take
Yeah.
number 2, which is our session IPA, and you double it, and it still doesn't hit that
Oh,
that new.
jeez.
Yeah.
Wow.
But we we see a lot more other styles that are favored, like our Bohemian Pilsner. That's great to see. I love
Yeah.
that.
That's in the top 3.
That's awesome.
Yep.
Yep. Nice.
The 24 Porter, our porter that defines our building, is a very, very popular beer. In fact, we don't have it on tap right now because we.
Gosh.
Well,
Supposed
we
to always
thought-
have a porter.
We thought we had more kegs than we did, and it's coming
That's
back,
all
guys.
right. Thank you.
Not enough cold storage.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. Well, that's another thing too. Our cooperage is a bit of an issue too. Like we need more kegs.
Yeah.
We've already done another order of kegs back in
Oh, wow.
November, and we just put another one in this
for
week.
more this week. So
Yeah,
That's
So,
crazy.
and
That was a good thing,
Wait,
right?
it's-
It's
You
a
know?
great problem to
Yeah.
have. I'll tell you
Yeah.
that much.
So can we establish this is only direct to consumers on site? You're
Correct,
not
correct.
distributing to restaurants.
Well, we do
No,
have
you do?
local
Okay.
accounts.
You
Yep.
That's
Okay.
cool.
Yeah.
In fact, there's a local wine bar on the other side of town, Salute. Deb, she reached out to us before we even opened.
Nice.
So
she was
they
our
have-
first account.
Yeah, and she's a wine bar, but she has a small selection of beer, and which makes sense. I mean,
Yeah.
kind of
Diverse.
like a brewery. Not everybody's beer drinkers. At the wine bar, they have beer, and yeah, so they were our first account. We have one at the center of town at the Littleton Sub Shop. We have a place over in Air as well, the Neshoba Club of Pizza.
Oh, okay.
They're our biggest account.
Cool.
Very cool.
Yeah. But that's still
Nice.
impressive. I mean, most of your sales are direct to consumers on
Oh yeah.
site.
Yeah.
Yep.
And you mentioned cans coming down the road. People cool with the crawlers.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
That's cool.
I love to see that because
Yeah.
I enjoy a crowler.
Uh-huh.
Like I don't.
I mean, who
necessarily
doesn't
always
like a
wanna
forearm
take-
worth of beer, right?
Right, exactly. Yes, but I don't always want to take like a 4-pack of one beer. It's nice to just bring home a crowler and just be like,
Yeah.
all right, we're gonna take this home and just drink it tonight.
Drink it to my face.
Yeah.
And I've done exactly 2 shotguns of crowlers.
Wait, really?
Oh yeah.
Oh, we
It's
should make
tough.
it. We should
That
make it
is
3 today.
intense.
I'll do it.
So I hate this question, but we have to pay our sponsors. So
Sure.
sponsors first. But I want you to think about it. What's next?
Are you a solo artist, band, podcaster, or anyone else who needs recording services?
Well, we got a place for you where your vision can become a reality.
Welcome to Small Pond Studios, built by hand with heart and sweat equity by musicians for musicians.
Go to smallpondstudios.io to reach out to get more information. And make sure you let them know that Brute sent you. Hey, Sound Guy Ryan here. Didn't know if you heard, but we're a part of the Hopped Up Network. There you'll find other informative podcasts about beer. So go ahead, follow them on social media, and visit them on their website, hoppedupnetwork.com, to learn more about the people, beer, and breweries from around the country. And until next time, thanks for listening. Cheers.
So after lagering for 2 months,
Yeah, for 2 months. Yeah. We're back.
we're back and drinking the Bohemian Bills. Is that right? Yeah.
The automaton.
Bo Pills is what you called it. I like that.
So
the
good.
Boho pills, yeah.
Boho Pills. Yeah, Boho Pills. I like that. Boho. So what's next? We kind of foreshadowed it a little bit. You talked canning,
Yep. So
outdoor seating.
Yeah. So canning, outdoor seating. So we have only one employee that actually works for
Nice.
us. So at the end of the month, Colin and I are
Expanding.
going to sit down and talk about actually hiring more help.
That's
because
awesome.
We wear a lot of hats, and so I need to get Colin off the bar. He's our head brewer. There's so many projects back there that he needs to do, and that's a little bit foreshadowing of what's next.
Yeah. So one of the things is I have a room dedicated to making sour beers, wild age beers.
Thank God you have a room, and it's
It's-
not just like
Right.
It's just stuff in it right now, like
Yeah.
all the equipment, and it has not been even touched yet. I've never had time to go ahead and brew up something. So that's one of the things is as soon as I can get off the bar and I have some extra free time, I'm going to be doing that. And one of the first things I'm going to be putting through through that is my dark sour. I entered that into it.
Hold on. Award-winning dark sour.
He was getting to that.
So this was entered into a homebrew competition down in the South Shore area a couple of years back, and it won best in show and
nice.
also top in its category.
That's
so
awesome.
I'm very excited about bringing that back. It's a dark sour aged on pluots. Pluots are a hybrid of apricot and plum.
Will
Yeah.
you be putting it in bottles?
Yes.
Oh yeah.
That's awesome. What makes it a dark sour?
Yeah, so it's a little bit of the malt. So I use a little bit of chocolate malt and a little bit of a dehusked, debittered dark malt, and it just gives a little bit of that color without too much of that roastiness, and then that allows the fruit flavors to kind of come forward.
Very cool.
Yeah. And I'm not a big fan of sours myself. It's usually instant heartburn for me. But this one, very, very nice.
Would you say it slaps, as the kids say?
Yeah, it's
Straight gas.
Straight gas.
Straight gas. Well, I can't wait to have that in bottles later this year, maybe.
This year or next, probably
know.
next.
Okay, well,
so when I
that's
did
fine.
it before, I aged it out for a year and a half, actually.
Probably
So-
smart.
Yeah.
I'll try to wait.
I like that you guys have already planned out a sour room separate from the brew house. Don't have to worry about infectation.
one of the few rooms that actually have a solid ceiling.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. All of our other rooms back there have just your regular
Pretend.
floating ceiling.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, this one we don't want to risk infecting the brewery.
Yeah. No cool ship, right?
No cool.
Not yet.
I was
Yeah,
gonna
I was gonna say not yet.
Future.
But
We
that
have
sounds
done it.
really cool.
We have
You've
done it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's cool.
Nice.
I want to talk about the future. What about expanding more into wholesale accounts?
Yep. So most of our sales are going to stick towards in-house, but we are going to, once we're into canning, get into a little bit of wholesale stuff. We have a couple of accounts that we already were looking for cans, some specialty beer stores. We like to make sure that our product is treated very, very well.
Yes.
And
We're gonna be
also
very, very selective.
making sure that it's getting sold within the time frame that it
Sure.
should be sold, so that's in its freshest, most prime.
Yeah,
And
I-
will you be handling that, one of you two? Or
Yeah.
will
Probably,
you be
yeah,
hiring
'cause, I mean-
someone in sales to do that?
So it might start with us, but
Yeah.
then we'll probably, once we can have the capital to go ahead and pay someone to do sales, that will be definitely something on our docket.
My biggest fear, I mean, I'm sure you guys have walked into a liquor store recently. You go down the beer aisle, you're struck with analysis paralysis at the 30,000 options that you have available.
Yes.
And then you do one of two things. You either default to something that you know, or you're like, this looks cool, this label looks cool. You bring it home, you crack it open, you're like, this is kind of weird. And then you look on the bottom and you realize it's been sitting there for 8 months.
Yeah.
That's the last thing I want to happen to my beer.
So I have a theory, and I'm not in the beer industry, so I can't test this.
But he does have a lot of theories.
They're good usually.
Yeah. So let's say for the first 5 years, you go into strictly mom and pop. You have that one-on-one connection with them to try to hype up your beer, right? People try it. They like it. They come here. You keep filtering in new people to know the brand. And then by that point, 6 years down the line, you can go into places like the city in New Hampshire, right? Where people see your cans, they're like, oh, I know them. I'm going to get that shit, right?
Yeah.
And you don't really have to do much. But because you had that one-on-one connection with, let's say, a handful, 5, 6, 7 mom and pop stores that really know you and what you're about and what your beer is, and they support it and they like it.
What's the question?
That's the natural.
That was a that was a city plug. That's what that was.
No. Do you think something like that it would work well?
I could see something down the road like that. Sticking towards like still using beer-centric stores. Going into the grocery store, maybe not kind of in our wheelhouse because it's like it's a little bit too mainstream for us. We want to have things be a little more of our hands are still in the pot.
You
on
also
this.
might not stand out in a grocery store. I feel like
Oh, yeah, especially
I didn't say
So-
grocery store.
We're just talking.
I didn't say grocery
But
store.
we're talking about grocery
But so you're thinking like a craft beer store.
Yeah.
Yes. Something that specializes, something that actually
They'll respect
gives a shit about
So-
beer.
Right.
Yeah, no, and I totally understand where you're coming from. I'm going to be honest with you. I haven't stepped foot in a craft beer store in probably 4 or 5 years.
Oh, yeah.
Yep. I don't think it's worth it because
Likewise.
I've actually found that I find more older beer that isn't handled well because 90% of it's
Correct.
on the floor warm.
Yeah.
That's it.
And I think we can talk about this a little bit, like Wandering Soul. They're no longer in business.
Correct.
Still doing stuff. But I mean, how many times did we talk to Matt and he's like, my beer's supposed to be in the fridge.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it's out on the floor.
Yeah.
Like I texted him countless times, like, hey, your beer's on the floor.
Yeah, at that
What
point,
the
you
fuck?
just be like,
You're
hey,
like, yeah.
I'm done with you then.
Yeah, I know,
Just
I
move
know,
on.
I know.
Yep.
Yeah.
No.
But you guys have a brick and where he did not have a brick and mortar.
Right. Yeah, it's hard.
Oh, yeah. Those people who do, distribution only,
Rockport.
that's rough.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
rough.
I
That's
feel
tough.
for
I always see his stuff in the fridge though. I don't know why, but I always do.
Yeah.
Maybe an extra slip on the side there.
Maybe.
Just the tip.
A little kiss. I was saying a kiss, but you went there. I think the direct-to-consumer model for breweries of your size is the perfect. I'm not
yeah.
trying to tell you to run how you run your business, but to me, I mean, we look at breweries like Sylvaticus in Amesbury. They do
One of my favorites.
same,
Right.
They do awesome sales. They do a great product, and they can count. They're still true to what they want to do. It sounds that's what you kind of want to do.
Yeah, they have like 2 wholesale accounts,
yeah.
and that's it.
And I
Right.
think
And they're right up the street. They just walk up the hill.
And when you go to Sylvaticus, it's a sense of community.
Yeah.
That's mine and Ryan's local brewery. That's where we go.
Yeah.
Bartenders know us. The beer tenders know us there. Ryan, you getting a boot? Yep. Matt, you getting the smallest beer you can get?
That's usually how it works.
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah, that's
that's-
exactly the type of model that we want. Like ever since conception of this brewery,
Yeah.
we wanted to be ingrained in the local community.
Yeah.
We thought it would take a lot longer to take root than it actually has.
No, this
Nah,
area,
beer people will flock.
No,
to
I would say this
the beer
area
hall.
this area is
Right for that.
starving for
Yeah.
this.
We
And they're
met
a community area, like Littleton, this area, they are focused on community already. So
community.
you then
There's a-
offering that space to them, it's like, well, okay.
There's a little like hobby gaming store in Littleton.
Yep.
That people travel all over the freaking
It's a
like
great
state
store.
to come to.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I mean, like, he's like, yeah, we were fed off locals for so long, and now we got because of the internet. Well, because of the internet, yeah.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
No, like I said, we've only been open for just over 4 months. We had a great winter, which is crazy to
That's
say.
impressive.
Don't say that.
I know, right?
Yeah, right. Where's the one? Where's the one?
Right? We've been packing houses every weekend,
Awesome.
and
Good
we're
for
in the
you.
middle of winter.
Well-
I'm legitimately terrified for summer.
Yeah. Can we?
You should be in
Spring,
the
here we
best
go.
way. Yeah.
Ryan and I were talking about this on the way in. This is not to discredit. We kind of rolled our eyes because we're like, another industrial park, right? This is exactly what we said. And
Yep.
It's like, how do you attract people to an industrial park that people probably drive past all the time to their house that they're like, they could be making meth over there, or they could be making
You don't know.
airplanes.
It's an industrial
I have no
park.
clue, right? Like,
It's just an industrial
it's just an
park.
industrial park.
Yeah,
like
you just
nobody
drive
really
by 'em.
knows. There's 2 in my town. I have no clue what the fuck. they're
Right.
making. Social media, right? Like, how are you getting
Yes.
people to come to you?
Social media, word of mouth, and Google. Google searches.
Okay.
Yeah. So a lot of people Google search, breweries around me, and that's we pop up, which is great. And then social media, just having as much blasts out there throughout the week. We're still seeing people coming in from that. And then also just word of mouth. People that have come here, been like, hey, we really liked this. And then they talk to their friends, and their friends talk to their friends. And then it all kind of spirals into more and more people coming in.
I feel like
Yeah.
word of mouth is such an underrated marketing resource.
Yeah.
So what I was about to say is that, well, believe it or not, I spend a lot of time behind the bar.
Wow.
Shocker, right? I've got a good handle on what people have been here before, what people are new. You know, I can generally know if it's a new face or not. Usually it's the eyes glaze over as they're looking around. But
right.
But I make sure to ask these people, how have you heard from us? And I would say at least 70% of the time it's word of mouth.
That's awesome.
I learned
My
from so and
neighbor
so,
heard
my
you.
neighbor.
Yeah.
I saw you guys up at the Neshoba Club. I saw you here.
Yeah.
And then Google, and then like the occasional Instagram. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And of course, we're coming into beer events because it's spring and summer.
Yep.
So we actually have quite a few lined up throughout the
One
rest of
today.
the year. We have an
Ooh.
event today, the Taste of Neshoba.
Very cool.
We have pretty much every month over the next probably 4 months.
What are your biggest
we
ones
have
coming up?
So the mass beer,
Yes.
that's going to be in the end of April.
Yep.
And then we also have
The Boston Market.
The Boston Market, which
Ooh.
is also in April.
We'll say
That
yes.
sounds right.
I think so.
Yeah.
Fun
Not the
fact on
chicken
that.
place. Don't worry.
Fun fact on the Boston Market one. I know the person, one of the people who were organizing it is one of
director,
our
yeah.
regulars.
Oh, that's
Oh, sweet.
awesome.
And we were invited before any other brewery.
Just saying.
Yeah,
Saying. Bless your soul.
No, but if you, I don't say this often, but if you guys keep pumping out beers like this Bohemian Pilsner and that black IPA,
We'll be back.
oh yeah.
I'll be back.
So,
my girlfriend lives in Nashville. This ain't too far.
and that's one of the things that we like to put emphasis on is variety. You know, it's always said variety is the spice of life. I love just beer. I not just boho pills. I mean, I love our dark Kolsch. I love we have an English mild. We have we do a little bit of everything. One of the actual driving forces that put it into our head was that we walked into a brewery. They had 30 beers on tap. Oh my God. And all but 2 were IPAs.
Ooh,
But we like those breweries.
that's impressive.
Colin and I looked at each other like, there's opportunity here.
Yeah.
There's more styles out there.
I feel like it's a way for you to actually introduce people to more styles.
Sure.
You give them the IPA because that's what they want, right?
yeah.
Then after you're like, hey, maybe for your next beer, you try this.
Right.
And then you introduce them to new things, and it's like.
But that's the beautiful thing about having a brick and mortar location.
And,
Right.
And that's nothing to knock IPAs.
Oh,
at
no,
all.
they're great. I enjoy a
We
Southern
told you we
IPA.
talk shit about them. We
Oh,
told you.
I mean, I'll talk shit about IPAs all the time. I've been hopped out for a couple of years now,
Hopper.
but no surprise to anybody. IPAs keep the lights on in the building.
Exactly. Everyone
we have
knows.
16 beers on tap. We will always have 4 IPAs, and we'll rotate these too.
Yeah.
We also have different IPAs that you never see. A
Black
case in
IPA,
point.
yeah.
The black
we have a black IPA.
which
We
is
have
great.
a red rye IPA. But we have then 12 other taps that we could just mess around and do whatever the hell we want with.
Yeah.
One of them, I'll say 11 taps because one of them we keep as a hard seltzer.
Okay.
Again, just
Fair enough.
to have something for everybody. And if we don't have them out, but we have the little flavor pumps, that you get at like Starbucks or something like that. So that
I
we
think
can,
that's pretty cool. I mean, it's kind of traditional, honestly.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
No, so I mean, I can tell you, we have people who get flights of seltzers. I'll take a raspberry lemonade,
not?
a watermelon,
You do
a
you.
wild berry, and a lemonade. I mean, so why not? Exactly.
Yeah.
We
cool.
want to have something for everyone. We even just started doing. We rolled out our house-made sodas.
Oh,
we have
nice.
a lemon lime soda. We have a cherry vanilla
Soda
soda.
is so easy to make. It blows my mind that not more
friggin'
places do that.
Easy.
Yeah.
So
You have
easy.
the ingredients in house already, pretty
Yeah.
much.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Being open only for 4 months, and by the time this airs, maybe it's 5 months.
Sure.
Wow, that was a real Boston
That
accent.
was
right?
super
That was-
Boston.
Sure, kid. What the fuck you said? Are you excited for things like Oktoberfest?
Oh,
are you,
yes.
Are you excited for things like this is such a great space. Honestly, I'm not
Thank you very
fluffing
much.
you guys.
We built it with our own 2 hands.
Yeah,
Literally.
Blood, sweat, and tears
Yeah.
into this.
but
Into the actual foundation.
yeah.
We did 500 feet worth of trench training to get this place up and going.
like we talked to breweries that have been around for a while, right? And they're like, oh man, it's July, I have to brew an Oktoberfest, or it's August, I got to brew a pumpkin ale, whatever. Not saying they're going to brew a
Yeah.
pumpkin ale. Are you guys excited to do that shit? The other breweries are like, fuck, I've been doing this for a while.
I love making Oktoberfest beer.
Oh, yeah.
Any lager, I'm right on that.
we have a lagering tank, a horizontal lagering tank, because we love lagers so much.
Love it.
The rest of our Boho Pills is actually in there. What, about 3 barrels or so?
4 maybe.
Roughly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If I stay here, it'll only be 2. No, I'm just kidding.
Don't tempt us.
What did I say? If I work from home, it'd be 4,000 pounds. No, it's exciting for you. You're in your infancy. Enjoy it.
Oh, yeah.
Enjoy it. I'm excited. Summer's coming up. I mean, you've had a great winter. You're gonna have a great summer. I really keep on doing
Be a
what you're
blast.
doing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The only thing I could say is I want to see more of you guys. I want
Yeah.
to see more of you on social media.
Yeah.
Keep on, keep
I
it
know,
on.
I know. There's only 2 of you. It's hard.
Yeah,
It's hard.
so I mean, and it's actually a whole family ordeal.
Yeah.
Colin's wife, Lindsay, she does all of our social media. She does all of our bookkeeping on top of a full-time job.
Yeah, hard.
My wife will help out behind the bar. Again, she works 50 hours a week, and then comes here right from work,
Yep.
puts on her uniform, and does another 8 hours behind the bar. So she's a machine.
And she did our Crowler label as
Yes,
well.
and
And also
our logo. Yep, our logo. My wife actually did.
Oh, sure. That's really
She
cool.
used a fermenter as her inspiration
For the digital.
Little spunding bell, the main
Yep,
lane,
yep.
everything.
See it now.
I see it.
Yeah,
Very cool.
very, very talented.
Yep.
So the tap space, right? I see a bunch of board games. You guys are kid friendly up until 6 p.m. on Friday and
Yeah,
Saturdays,
and
correct?
honestly, we don't even advertise.
Enforce
I
it?
put that.
Okay.
I put it on the website just to kind of put that out there. It actually happens naturally after. I mean, kids
Most
kind
kids
of
don't
wind
stay out
down
late
at that
anyways,
night.
yeah.
Exactly. But yeah, no.
Kids
we
can't
do-
party.
We do say that after about 6 o'clock becomes a more tavern setting for the most part.
Yeah.
A lot of our music starts at 6 or 7 at night, so a lot of kids can't really handle the loud noise and
Yeah.
that.
So you say music. What other things are you doing here?
Yeah, I see
You
a
have, like,
projector.
A massive projector, which is awesome.
So we've done 2 movie nights.
Cool.
The first movie night was The Princess Bride. Second movie night,
Great one.
Monty Python, The Holy Grail.
yes.
Andre the Giant's best movie.
R.I.P.
Seriously.
Yeah.
Our next movie night, another Andre the Giant feature, would be Robin Hood Men in Tights.
Oh,
You're right.
yes.
I thought you were going to say WrestleMania 3, but
Whatever. I mean, each their own. It's cool.
But yeah, no, I have all sorts of stuff that I want to do. Again, it's the time.
Yeah.
Time, energy, for sure. But you have music, you say, as well.
Yeah,
and a
so-
comedy night as well.
Is that like
So-
weekly? You have it every week or
So
every?
second Friday of every month is our comedy night, High Flying Comedy, where we have a buddy who works at a comedy club out in Boston. He does all the booking over there.
Nice.
And he's like, hey, do you want me to bring in some local comics? Absolutely,
All right.
yeah.
Yeah.
So we've been doing that since December. We've had already 20, 25 comics come through here, different one every time.
Nice.
And they kill it.
That's
It's
awesome.
that's
Yeah.
cool.
It's really cool. Let's see. So we have music at basically every Friday and Saturday going up. I'm booked past July right
Oh,
now.
wow. Jeez. Nice.
Let's see. There's a board game group. I'm a huge nerd.
what's your favorite board game?
My favorite board game. Man. Let's see. Lords of Waterdeep is a fun one.
I'm a Carcassonne guy, so
Carcassone's great.
Great
I
game.
mean,
I can tell
Put me
you
on the
guys are
spot.
big board games because you have
a cribbage,
logo
board.
board.
Yeah,
That's
so
great.
that was actually commissioned by my parents.
Oh, really?
Oh,
Yeah,
nice. Nice.
My parents have been very, very supportive of us. My dad was up here basically every Saturday helping us with the build out.
Love
Classic dad. yeah.
Classic.
And during our soft opening, my parents actually dressed in full steampunk regalia.
Yes.
Dropped that, like, it blew my mind.
Well, Ryan and I,
That's,
the way
that's
here,
not
we-
something that my dad would do.
We saw the picture
awesome.
of you on. I was like, if he dresses up in steampunk
every day.
every day, I'll be like, he's so
Well,
dedicated to
Usually on Saturdays I'll
Really?
dress. Yeah.
Because why not, right? That's
Yeah,
your
exactly.
theme.
It
Like, you have an
becomes
excuse
a
to do
thing.
that.
I mean, the
Yeah.
wings that you see up here is actually part of a costume.
Love it.
I built those myself about 10 years ago.
That's so cool.
And it's actually bisected. If you look very closely, there's hinges on the back. They're held together literally by bobby pins. But yeah, eventually I want to have a daily uniform. It's just they're kind of expensive.
yeah.
not there yet. Yeah. But that's cool.
Well, thank you guys for doing this today.
Oh, absolutely.
It's been a
Yeah.
lot of fun.
Absolutely.
We love talking about beer. We love
Yeah.
talking about the
So
business.
do we.
This is like
Really?
Yeah.
You should make a podcast.
Right? Noted.
We were
We'll get
thinking
into that.
about. We were thinking about it, but there's only so many hours in the day.
Oh, believe me, I know.
If you wanted to leave our listeners with like one thing that you wanted people to know about Dirigible, did I say that right? Dirigible.
Yeah,
I just kind of
Dirigible.
mumbled it, so I was like, oh.
Yeah, that's fine.
If you wanted our listeners and people who are fans of your brewery to kind of walk away with, what would it be?
Well, even if you're not a beer drinker, we'll find something for you. We have a huge variety of stuff, whether all shapes and sizes, different styles, even non-alcoholic stuff. I mean, we'll find something for you, and it is a very, very friendly, family-friendly environment. Very, very low key. Come on by.
Cool.
Just come hang out.
Yeah.
We got some great people here, great atmosphere, always good music and good times.
Yeah, we have a lot of regulars who just like talking to new people that
I
show
like
up at the bar.
that. I like that.
We have a couple of regulars. One of them, Tim. Yeah, he always comes in for one beer. It turns into usually 3, 4, and a crowler to go. But it's because anybody who sits at the bar, he just likes
Just
to chat
talks.
them up.
Shit.
Yeah.
He usually sits down for about 3 hours. You think you're going to be there for only an hour.
Yep.
His
Yeah.
wife is probably like, think of it.
Yeah, right. It's part of the house. This is great.
One thing I did want to ask, food on premise, or do you guys get food trucks?
So bring your own
What's the deal?
food.
Do you want to-
Yep. We have an open bring your
That's
own
cool.
food policy, but we are starting to get more and more food trucks.
Nice.
Pinning food trucks down actually has been a little bit more of a chore than I thought
I
it would be.
hear.
Yes.
But that's cool. You can bring your own food too. I mean, that's good.
And I mean, so we can't have a kitchen. Our septic is not rated to have a kitchen.
Right.
Not
If
that
you were
I-
at
not that I
18
even
gallons per
want
person.
to make. I don't ever want to make food,
No.
and you don't want my food either. But we put an emphasis on helping out other local businesses.
Yeah.
We've been trying to work with as
Focus
many.
on what you're good on, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
We'll take care of the beer. You take care of the food.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Exactly.
Bring in what you want. And a good example of that is we were open, Black Friday, day after Thanksgiving. And actually, the table we're sitting at right now, there was an entire family who brought their leftovers from the day before.
Oh, my God,
Spread
yes.
right across the table. I'm like, that is so awesome.
Yeah.
That is
And
awesome.
said,
awesome.
Thanksgiving dinner 2.0, right?
Right. I love it.
All right, so this might change by the time this is aired, but hours of operation currently?
Thursday to Sunday. Thursday, Friday is 3 to 11. Saturday is 11 to 11. Sunday is 11 to 7.
Any plans to change that with the warmer months coming?
Yes. So our pouring permit's actually good 7 days a week.
Oh, okay, cool.
We just don't have the manpower to
Right,
for the
right.
bar because I mean even now the 4-day stint that I had Thursday to Sunday because I'm
It's
behind the bar
exhausting,
every day.
right? Yeah.
Yesterday was rough. Today was a little less rough, but
Yeah.
I made it here.
Proud of you.
Thank you.
Yeah. All right, well, they're going to go take a nap under one of the tables
Yes.
before they open, and we're going to go to our next destination. But thank you again for doing this. And honestly,
Thank you.
I implore our listeners to go to Dirigible in Littleton, Massachusetts. It's awesome. The
Great
beer's
beer, great people. I mean,
Yeah.
for you guys, anyways. And yeah.
Yeah, and seriously.
Thanks for coming out here today, guys.
Anytime.
Thanks for trying our beer and
Try the
sure.
Bohemian Pills.
yes, do
Very
You
it.
will
good.
not regret it.
Very good.
Yes.
It's very, very good.
I can't wait for Oktoberfest here.
Yeah.
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 All right. Well,
Awesome.
thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank
Cheers.
you. Cheers.